Rockstar Studios is well known for putting players in control of criminals, making the Grand Theft Auto series, the Manhunt series, the Red Dead series, and heck, you're a criminal for all intents and purposes in the Max Payne series too. But with the most recent release of LA Noire, Rockstar finally gives the players the opportunity to take on the role of a detective. So, how does this game hold up? Well, let's take a look and find out. This game puts you in the shoes of Cole Phelps, a former lieutenant in the Marine Corps in World War II. He is the newest rookie in the LAPD in the mid-40s. Phelps joined the LAPD in a time where most of the police are either corrupt or just really don't care about their jobs, hence making him one of the only officers in the city who isn't crooked. As the story progresses and Phelps continues to solve cases, he eventually gets promoted to being a detective for traffic crimes, then moves on to homicide, then to vice cases, and ends up on the arson squad. Each desk you end up working at has a different number of cases, and you will end up solving 22 cases overall. Each case you take on has its own story with different characters and locations, and all of these stories are based on real-life cases. For instance, in one case, you end up chasing a criminal similar to the Black Dahlia murderer, and in another, you end up busting a mafia ring involving stolen army morphine. In each case, you must collect clues and interrogate suspects. Collecting clues involves investigating any given crime scene. Once Phelps stands near something that could be considered a clue, a certain musical tune plays. Upon picking up a clue, Phelps can then examine the item. Some items are just worthless items lying around a crime scene, while others can provide vital information about the suspect or even the victim. While investigating a scene, you will hear a certain music playing. Once the music is stopped, you'll find all of the clues. But of course, if you don't have the patience to search a crime scene, then you could just ignore the evidence and go with your first lead. If you don't manage to find all the evidence at a crime scene the first time, you can always return to the scene of the crime at any time during the investigation. While investigating a crime scene, you may stumble across a newspaper. Reading the paper automatically shows the player an event that ties into the overall story. While the player gets to see these events, Phelps does not. There are 13 newspapers overall, and finding them all allows you to get a much better understanding of the story overall. But what would a game about being a detective be if you couldn't interrogate suspects? This game allows you to interrogate any suspect, witness, or possibly just an affiliate at certain times in the game. Once you have asked a question and received a response, you can either believe the person, doubt them, or accuse them of lying. Now, believing them is self-explanatory, so I don't need to explain that. The doubt option is used if you believe that the person in question is withholding information, but you don't have specific proof. And accusing them of lying is also self-explanatory. However, when you accuse someone of lying, you must have specific proof, which you can find in your case notes. But right about now you may be asking, how can I tell if they're lying? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, during production, this game used an extremely effective facial recognition scanner using real actors, so when talking to someone, you have the ability to read their facial expressions. If they look you straight in the eyes, they're probably telling the truth. If they hang their head, avoid eye contact, or fidget, they're lying. Correctly determining whether the person is lying or telling the truth can greatly help your case. If you manage to correctly read your suspect, they may turn over some evidence. But guess wrong, you may end up with no leads at all, or even worse, false leads. Along with just interrogating and investigating, this game is also filled with a large amount of shootouts and chase scenes in order to break up the monotony. Sometimes the suspect may evade you, sometimes they try to fistfight you, and sometimes they try to kill you. These segments do a great job with breaking up the normal routine and are overall pretty fun, even though they're usually pretty short. This game also implements a level up system. Guessing correctly in interrogations, correcting evidence, solving street crimes, and solving cases altogether all give you experience. Every 5 levels you either unlock a certain amount of vehicles to use, or you could unlock an entirely new outfit. Every time you level up, you can also gain 1 intuition point. Intuition points can be used in investigations to show every clue at a crime scene in order to help speed the investigation along, and they also help during interrogations. During interrogation, these points allow you to either rule out one incorrect response, see the percentages of how other people voted at this point, or it allows you to back out of an accusation if you find that you're lacking sufficient evidence. At the end of every investigation, you get to see how well you did. Your success is determined by how many clues you discovered, how many interrogations were successful, and how little damage you did to public property, vehicles, and civilians. These rankings range from giving you 1 to 5 stars. 5 stars means you found all of the clues and guessed correctly in all of the interrogations. 1 star means that you did terrible in your investigation. But if you did poorly in an investigation, not to worry, you can always redo any case at any time. Beating the entire campaign will run you somewhere around 20 hours. Along with just solving the case files, you can also play in a mode named Streets of LA. This mode allows you to just roam around Los Angeles and solve street crimes if you wish. Street crimes are mini cases that are found by roaming around the city. If you are in a police car, you may hear a dispatcher calling for assistance. Following these calls gives you a mini mission. These missions range from stopping bank robbers to talking down a jumper and much more. Along with just being fun, these side missions also give you experience points. Now, some of you may be looking at this game right about now and thinking to yourself, gee, this game sure looks similar to Grand Theft Auto 4, therefore it must be pretty much the same as Grand Theft Auto, right? Wrong. Clear all notions of this game being like GTA from your mind for a moment. Yes, this game is similar in its sandbox style and in the driving and shooting segments, but aside from that, there is one major difference. In this game, you are a detective. In the GTA games, you are a criminal. Therefore, you cannot go around killing people and causing chaos like the GTA games. So, if you really don't like story-oriented games and just like causing chaos, I can already tell you to pass up on this game. Now for the reviewing. The graphics in this game are amazing. Every character, building, and car is extremely well rendered, and this game also has some of the most realistic facial expressions I have ever seen in any video game in all of my life. As for the gameplay, well, let's start with the basics. The overall controls for moving around are actually pretty stiff, but surprisingly, they really aren't too hard to get used to. As for the driving, well, if you play GTA 4, the driving has almost the exact same feel. Now, this never really bothered me personally, however, I feel it's worth mentioning because I know a lot of gamers out there could not stand this. The shooting segments have you use a very basic third-person shooter mechanic, and also have a cover mechanic thrown in. Yep, not too much to add there. It's a very basic yet very effective system. The enemy AI is also quite intelligent. They will take cover and occasionally blind fire from cover in order to kill you. So, here are my final thoughts on this game. I personally feel that this is a fantastic game, but it isn't for everyone. This is one of those games that is more thought-provoking than anything. While playing this game, you actually feel smarter from using your intuition and wit to attempt to solve the cases. However, if you don't really care for that style of game, and are more interested in shooters, or even games more similar to Grand Theft Auto, then I wouldn't recommend this game to you. So, till next time, this has been E-Dog. Case closed.
Some rain must fall, but too much